Brought to you by Allstate, whose policies now include protection for your home, your family, as well as your car. You're in good hands with Allstate. And now, let's all play What's My Line?
And now let's meet our award-winning panel of What's My Line. First, the delightful star of stage and television, Miss Arlene Francis.
And now a charming young man who has his own daytime television show called Who Do You Trust? Whom do you think it is? It's Johnny Carson.
Grammatically, you're correct. And on my left, the other half of my female bookends for this evening, the den mother of the Journal American, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And on my left, the pride of Mount Kisco, the very grammatical Random House publisher, Bennett, Cerf.
Now here's a man who just won, practically without opposition, the World's Championship for Obfuscation. Dapper, debonair, devil-may-care John Daly.
I was trying to be devil-may-care all the way over to the seat. Couldn't make it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to What's My Line. Mr. Carson, nice to have you back with us.
Thank you, John.
Nice to see my old colleagues of the panel there, particularly because I have some small suspicion of what's going to happen to you in the next half hour. Yes, well. We'll also have a mystery challenger before the panel a little bit later in the program, and we'll meet our first challenger after this word. Now let's meet our first challenger. Will you enter and sign in, please? Rosemary Marston, right? Debonair, Mr. Cerf there. Gave you, I think, a very warm and I hope happy greeting for you. Hope you stick in good in the next half hour or so. Is it Miss or Mrs. Marston?
Mrs.
Mrs. Marston, where are you from?
Denver, Colorado.
Denver, Colorado. It's nice to have you with us. May I present the panel formally, Mrs. Marston? Now, would you join me over here, please? Do you know how we keep score, Mrs. Marston? Yes. Fine, then we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, Mrs. Marston is self-employed, deals in a service, and we'll begin the general questioning with Bennett, sir.
Mrs. Marston, Denver's a mile up in the air, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That has nothing to do with the service you perform, I presume.
No.
Does the service that you presume have to do with both sexes?
Yes.
Indiscriminately and without favor?
I would say that it's a condition which could be described as without favor to either one or the other.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do the people who are lucky enough to avail themselves of your service improve themselves in some way, either in looks or health, as a result thereof?
Specifically looks and health? Mm-hmm.
Well, it covers quite a lot of territory.
It covers a lot of territory, and Bennett, we will give you an affirmative answer, but don't accuse me subsequently of misleading you, because we're taking the two words that you use, looks and health, in their broadest possible terminology. And in this terminology, then I think we can agree that it's possible there would be an effect upon looks or health, yes.
Thank you, John. Mrs. Marston, do people come to you for this service?
Yes, they do.
Are they fully clothed when they avail themselves of your service?
Yes, definitely.
Do you have to have some kind of special education to perform the service that you do?
I would think that we would have to agree, Bennett, that you would need a special kind of training which would be inclusive of certainly some degree of special education, yes.
Do you have any kind of title, such as a lawyer, doctor? Is there any degree that you have, Mrs. Marston?
No.
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Francis.
When people come to you, do you touch them in any way, Mrs. Marston? No.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Carson.
Would I be likely, Mrs. Marston, to avail myself of your services? In the broadest possible sense.
I think, Johnny, that's a very fair answer. Mrs. Marston said it would depend. There are circumstances under which it would be possible. This is not to say that you specifically would ever come upon such circumstances, but it could happen.
John, whenever you talk to me, I always get the feeling I'm in the principal's office in high school for some reason. Would this have anything to do with the educational field at all? Some field of education, instruction?
No.
You mean specifically now as a formal area of education or instruction in a school?
Did I say that?
University or something like that. I just don't want to mislead you, that's all.
Some type of instruction. In other words, she gives instruction, whether it...
Well, I think we would agree that there is an element of instruction involved in any normal carrying out of the service.
Is there any physical activity involved in what you do?
No. 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you work indoors?
Yes.
Do you work in what might be called an office?
Yes.
Do you work in the daytime rather than at night?
Yes.
Is there paperwork involved?
Yes.
Does your work have anything to do with animals?
No.
4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mrs. Marston, would the work that you do have anything to do with the marriage or babies?
Yes.
Might it be the realm of babies that you work in?
No.
Thank you, Bennett, sir. 5 down and 5 to go.
There you are, Arlene.
Would you be considered a marriage counselor? No.
That's true, because here marriage counselor has come to have a rather specific identification. Its activity...
You mean in Denver?
No, all over the country, I think, Arlene. The truth of it, I'm going to flip the cards because this is an area really of nomenclature, but marriage counselor, I think, has tended to take on the coloration of ex post facto activity in the area of advice and counsel, whereas actually Mrs. Marston, who's had all the cards, runs a marriage bureau. She seeks through the fine intelligence which the IBM machines can bring to the whole business of joining male and female to get the ideal partners, one for the other. Yeah.
It's all based on psychological testing.
And the interesting part about it is that actually, I'm not teasing you, that Mrs. Marston's scientific, what is the name
Marriage
of it?
Center.
Scientific Marriage Center, and they take all of the data affecting each one of the individuals or any individual involved, and this is transferred into a data processing machine, and then they come out with what they feel is as exact a proper relationship between a male and female.
Is that IBM doing
What's your
that?
batting average?
Is that electronic?
Have you done well? Have the people who have married as a result of your wonderful system
Yes.
fared well together?
Very, very well. I mean, this is, our psychologist was, when he was working on his PhD, they had this research to find the cause of divorce. And there was 1,000 couples who had been divorced after 5 years of marriage. And they were given a very extensive battery of tests. And out of all this, they found that to really make a good marriage and to not have so many divorces, people should have certain basic personality factors alike.
Is this done by a machine, electronic?
Well, of course, the testing is all done by the psychologist.
Well, if there is a divorce,
Psychologist questionnaire.
if there is a divorce, who gets custody of the machine?
Thank you very much. It's been a very interesting period. I'm glad we didn't stick him, but we didn't. Well, I must congratulate you on that panel. Let's see what we can do with the second challenger. Will you enter and sign in, please? Carl A. Strand. Right, sir? Mr. Strand, where are you from?
Birmingham, Michigan, sir.
Birmingham, Michigan. May I present our panel, Mr. Strand? And then will you join me over here, please, sir? Do you know how we keep score?
I do.
All right, we'll let the audience at home and in the theater know exactly what your line is. All right, panel. Mr. Strand is self-employed. He deals in a product, and we'll begin the general questioning with Arlene Francis.
Mr. Strand, is your product something that could be used by anybody on this panel?
Yes.
By both men and women?
Yes.
Would one use it indoors?
Yes.
Could you hold it in your hand?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, and let me have a small equation here.
Oh. Decorative is one thing.
I think that we have here, to be fair, with your permission, Mr. Strand, to say that it can be used indoors. This does not restrict it solely to indoor use. All right, Mr. Carson.
Can be used indoors or out of doors, then.
Right.
Is this have any beneficial, is it beneficial to health in any way? If I use this, would I feel better?
Well, I would say if you used it and used it properly, that it's possible that you wouldn't feel any better, but still, so you're getting no answer. That's 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Well, would anybody or anything feel better as a result of using this?
Yes.
Would that thing be an animal?
Yes.
Is the product something that the animal digests?
No.
That makes it 3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Strand, you're the first man from Birmingham that I ever met who wasn't in the automobile business. You're not in the automobile business.
No, sir.
It's a very prosperous and wonderful suburb of Detroit. Mr. Strand, do you then deal directly with some kind of animal?
No.
4 down and 6 to go, and Birmingham is a very prosperous suburb of Detroit. Miss
Still,
Francis?
he doesn't deal with animals.
Is this something that is put on the animal?
No.
5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Carson.
Not put on it, and it's not put in it.
Would you teach these animals anything at all?
No, I think not.
6 down and 4 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Is your product made of any animal?
Made of any animal. 7 down and 3 to go,
Is
Mr.
it
Cerf.
possible, Mr. Strand, that you are in the field of taxidermy in any way?
No, sir.
8 down and 2 to go, Miss Francis.
What's wrong with that?
Can I rule out anything to do with being a doctor for any animal?
You may.
Yes.
Do you have a product that would be applied to the animal but not worn?
No, ma'am.
Oh, wait, may we have a
It's not even applied to him, huh?
No.
No, we could not say it was applied to him. That's 9 down to 1 to go. You have 30 seconds for a
Maybe
conference.
make stalls or
Maybe make
something.
something big enough to enclose the animal
That's
because
what
it
I
couldn't
mean.
be held in the hand. You think that's
Or a
possible?
milking machine. Well,
Maybe it's something animal gets into.
maybe it's a bed for a cow.
All right, the 30
Why
seconds.
don't you?
30 seconds is up,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Carson. It's 9 down and 1 to go.
Is this a domesticated animal?
Yes, sir.
Would it be, say, smaller than a cow?
Yes, sir.
Would it be, say, smaller than a dog? You know, our dogs vary.
Could be.
Now, wait a minute.
It's a dog? It's a dog? You do something for dogs?
Beg pardon? Do you want to change
Could it
your
be
question?
No, I don't think I do, John.
Well, what is the question as you posed it?
I forgot. What was it? Does this have to do with dogs?
Yes, if that's your question, the answer would be yes, and aren't you lucky?
Dog houses would be indoors and outdoors.
Take it back.
I think that over.
I won't allow this chicanery. I'm going to flip the card.
He makes dog houses.
I think that's absolutely right. And this is very interesting. It's the Carl A. Strand Company in Birmingham, Mr. Strand's company, named after Mr. Strand. And he makes a doghouse which can be used indoors or outdoors.
The ones indoors are for husbands.
I didn't sort of that size, yeah.
Do you realize what kind of an uproar I'd have created if I'd said that? But the wonderful thing is, Mr. Strand had a great deal to do with the development of the Quonset hut, which we all know so well from World War II, and which served our troops so well and faithfully in every theater on the globe. And actually, his little doghouse has the same principle as the Quonset hut. It has that same conformation, does it not, sir?
It does.
And so this is...
that would be disturbing. A dog would think there's a war on all the time.
Not unless it's a hailstorm.
No.
Not unless it's a hailstorm.
You just looked then as though you were describing Jane Mansfield.
Well, as you can see, Bennett is the ne'er-do-well. Is that what he said I was? I forgot. Well, thank you very much, sir. It was nice to have you on What's My Line. I hope you had as much fun as we did.
Thank you.
Good night. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment, but first, here is a word from our special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity, for which the panel is always blindfolded. Blindfolds all in place, panel?
Yes, John.
Good. Will you enter Mystery Challenger and sign in, please? Panel, as you know, in the case of our mystery challenger, we go to a different form of questioning, one question at a time, in turn, moving clockwise. And we'll begin with Johnny Carson.
Well, with a hand like that, it sounds like Caroline Kennedy, but I don't think she's up this time of night. Are you in the entertainment field?
Yes, I am.
Miss Kilgallen? That's all on this round, Johnny. You know, this is 1, 1, 1, and 1. Miss Kilgallen?
Are you a singer?
Well, there's some doubt around.
What? What did you say?
There's some doubt around. But the
But there
answer
isn't
would
really.
be yes, Mr. Cerf.
Have you ever starred in nightclubs?
Oh, no. No, no.
No?
That's 1 down and 9 to go, Miss Francis.
Quite the opposite.
Quite the opposite.
Actually, I would say that while we give you should we give a no answer there? On the
Oh,
night
completely no. No,
Completely
no.
no. All right, Miss Francis?
Have you performed in the theater?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Oh, boy.
Carson?
I assume this is a woman we're dealing with.
I think so, yes. Yes.
Are you mainly known for your roles in the theater, the legitimate theater?
Yes, I think it's safe to say that.
Miss
Yes.
Kilgallen?
Are you a comedian?
Sometimes, I wonder.
But the answer is yes. Mr. Cerf?
Have you been in a play on Broadway within the last 4 or 5 months?
Yeah.
Miss Francis?
Is it a musical?
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Carson?
Are you an American?
Yes.
Miss Kilgallen?
Are you originally from Texas?
No, sorry.
That's 2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Is the play that you are appearing in or have been appearing in recently on Broadway, was it considered a very big hit that achieved a run of over 6 months?
Not yet.
So we'll have to give you a no. That's 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Francis.
Less than 6 months.
Actually, we're being pretty technical there. It's give a little here or there. We get on a technicality, we give the no.
All right.
So it's a musical. Are you co-starred in this play?
Yes.
Mr. Carson?
Would this be the Lucille Ball show?
It could be, but it isn't.
4 down and 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Is the show Carnival?
5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Is the show The Happiest Girl in the World?
I am, but the show isn't.
6 down and 4 to go, Miss Francis.
Is the show Do, Re, Mi, and Are You the Magnificent Nancy Walker?
Yes! It is indeed the show that you've been searching for. Is Do Re Mi, Phil Silvers.
Yes.
Very good friend of mine, Miss Nancy, star in it, and
she's just marvelous.
in every single
Aren't you
thing
nice?
that she
Thank
does.
you. Thank
Is
you,
just
thank you.
marvelous. That was great fun, Miss Nancy.
Yes, it was
Thank you
for
so
me.
much for
Thank
joining
you
us.
very
It was
much.
nice to have you on What's My Life. Well, you've done very well so far tonight, panel, it seems to me. And we'll have another contestant after this word from our alternate sponsor. And now let's meet another contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Right there. Sam Koza, right, sir? Mr. Koza, where are you from?
Flushing, Long Island.
Flushing, Long Island. Well, here's a neighbor, but I will present you to the panel formally if I can. Mr. Koza, would you join me here, please, sir? You know how we keep score? All right, we'll let the audience here and at home know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, we will tell you that Mr. Koza is salaried and deals in a service, and we'll begin the general questioning with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Mr. Koza, does your work require any strength or dexterity?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Koza, do you work for a profit-making organization?
No.
You don't? Mr. Koza had some doubts. He says some say yes, some say no, but we'll say yes on that, Bennett. You go ahead.
Well, is your service of some use to people in large masses, Mr. Koza?
Sometimes.
Might you work for a company that has something to do with transportation or improving the state of New York?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Penn.
Do you protect or guard anything or anyone?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Carson.
Is your service equally obtainable or offered to you both sexes?
Yes.
Would I be likely to avail myself of your service?
No.
Well, I would say, if, with your permission, that there are circumstances under which the service which Mr. Koza renders could be useful to you if you happen to be in need of it at the moment. Would you agree to that?
Yes.
So you go ahead.
Well, I'm in need. Do you work out of doors at all?
Yes.
Is there any... Dorothy asked if there's any physical strength, but is your job a job which would take you different places rather than
Yes.
having an office? Do you have anything to do with anything in education?
No.
4 down and 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you have any connection with getting rid of anything that people don't want?
It's a wonderful question, though, Dorothy.
I'd like to ask you the opposite of what Dorothy just asked. Have you got anything to do in any way with money in any shape or form?
No.
6 down and 4 to go, Miss Francis.
All right, now you work out of doors. Do you wear anything other than what you have on now when you are in your job? Is it a kind of coverall or uniform?
Yes.
Would we immediately know what you did if we saw you in the garb that you wear on your job?
Yes.
Would you ever be...
Let me say this, Arlene. I think it's fair to say that if you had knowledge about the particular area in which Mr. Koza is engaged, you would recognize immediately that an absolute stranger might not.
Would you have anything whatsoever to do with the entertainment world, pictures, theaters, television studios, and so forth?
No.
Nothing.
7 down and 3 to go, and I'm afraid we're going to...
Nightclubs, John?
Nightclubs, sports, you're getting close, but we've run out of time. I'm sure if we had another 2 or 3 days, you'd be able to get it, panel. Actually, Mr. Koza is a racetrack bugler.
Oh.
He's the man who goes to bugle. At both Aqueduct and Belmont here in the New York area. He plays the trumpet before each race.
I would like to say I'd recognize the uniform, John.
Almost anything. Thank you very much, sir. It's nice to have had you with us in What's My Life. Good night. Panel, with your permission, we run a little bit short of time. I will say good night for all of us, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us on What's My Line.